Have you ever cringed at that couple idolizing the Joker and Harley Quinn when it's obvious they've never picked up a comic book or watched the original animated series that relationship originates from? Yeah, what's up with that? Hey, this is Ashley from The Dating Doc, your source for dating news and advice. Before we jump into today's topic, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so you can get the latest content from The Dating Doc. The world of fiction is something of an escape for us, and romance is no exception to that. In general, we enjoy love stories because we can live through power couples and experience dynamic, perfectly matched relationships vicariously. Even for those of us that aren't single, there's something incredibly satisfying about seeing characters you know are meant for each other coexisting, and it can be beautiful. We're not here to talk about those today. Nope. I'm sitting down to talk to you about some of the most toxic couples in movies, shows, and pop culture fiction. By the way, spoilers ahead for the following characters in their respective works. The backdrop of the original Star Wars trilogy assigned the prequels with many tasks to set up the world we were familiar with. One of those being the birth of Luke Skywalker. We knew Anakin was his dad, and we're looking forward to the progression of his transformation into the iconic Darth Vader, but fans were also desperate to learn more about the mother of the beloved protagonist, as she'd never even been mentioned in the original films as far as I recall. But who would have thought it would be an 18-year-old Natalie Portman portraying Padme Amidala meeting the 9-year-old Anakin? Sure, the character was meant to be a 14-year-old in episode 1, but even so, the implications are uncomfortable. And by the time the romance does bloom between the characters as adults in episode 2, it doesn't really feel any more comfortable. Padme is a senator and former queen of Naboo whose interests are deeply aligned with her people. Hayden Christensen's Anakin is a whiny, immature, overly cocky Jedi Padawan man-child who's been simping for the same girl he hasn't seen in 10 years. And the manner by which he attempts to woo her has got to be among the cringiest romantic lines in cinema. The forbidden lovers trope is nothing new to fiction, of course. It's a set of classic Romeo and Juliet archetypes, and conceptually, the idea of a Jedi in training and a senator held back from love by their duties holds some intrigue. But it just doesn't work on screen here. We get no indication that Padme returns any sort of feelings for this guy that she met as a child a decade ago, who now makes no attempts at subtlety in his obsessive feelings for her, until she does suddenly. She rebuts him time and time again throughout the film, only to give in by the third act without any sort of nuance. I don't know if it was the pickup line, "I don't like sand," or, "and not just the men, but the women, and the children too. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them." But she inexplicably falls for this man-child and quickly marries him despite a complete lack of genuine chemistry. Their dynamic does get better in episode 3 with a more mature Anakin and a subplot of having to hide their marriage and pregnancy, all while Anakin is having forced premonitions of her impending death, which is the catalyst for his descent into the dark side. And then, tragically, she dies during childbirth because she loses the will to live. So, the only movie in which we actually get a genuinely good romance between the characters is the one in which they're doomed to lose everything. Alright, so first off, confession. I haven't actually watched Game of Thrones or read the A Song of Ice and Fire novel series it's adapted from. I've seen episodes here and there, and I know generally about some of the characters and big plot threads, but ultimately I don't have nearly as big of an investment in the character relationships. Even so, I am aware of the incest. So, what happens when you take well-liked, well-developed protagonists, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, with their own fleshed-out character arcs through 8 seasons, and give them a love story right at the conclusion? Well, on paper, it sounds like a recipe for success if it weren't for the implications of their relationship. Viewers were quick to do the math and realize that these passionate, attractive characters are nephew and aunt. And I remember when this first happened, when people were talking about it on social media. Given the context of the entire series, it's not actually the worst couple of the show, of course, from what I've heard. I mean, we could talk about Jaime and Cersei Lannister, who are active incestuous siblings throughout the series, but they're the villains, and if anything, I never got the impression their relationship was glamorized. But I think what sets Jon Snow and Daenerys apart is that they're among the most well liked characters of the franchise. Fans stood by them through 8 seasons and watched them grow and develop, cheered for them, mourned for them. And again, from a story writing perspective, their individual stories and characteristics seem compatible. It could have made for a power couple if, well, they weren't related. And finally, we get to the crux of this discussion. Oh god, this one is cringe, and it's not because of bad writing or differently intentioned relationship building in the source material. No, this one is actually meant to be toxic. It's really the surprising number of source material illiterate fans of this couple that really grinds my gears. The Joker and Harley Quinn. I blame the 2016 Suicide Squad for making this pairing so popular with mainstream fans. The amount of couples costumes and cringy Facebook posts idolizing and glamorizing this very toxic couple was compounded by David Ayer's DCEU film and its depiction of the characters. Which is funny because even that movie and its sequel Birds of Prey don't really portray the relationship in a positive light, I'd say. But to get an understanding of why the Joker and Harley Quinn are toxic as a couple, you need to go back to their relationship's debut. Harley is actually a creation of the 90s Batman the Animated Series, who was so popular as a character she ended up making her way back into the comics and in various other series, video games, and now cinema. Actually, we're set to see Lady Gaga take the role in the upcoming musical sequel to Todd Phillips' 2019 Joker film, starring Joaquin Phoenix. And personally, I'm anticipating seeing how the character and their relationship is developed on the big screen this time. But circling back, the backstory as performed by Jared Leto and Margot Robbie is more or less in line with the couple's origin story in the animated series and various other adaptations. Harleen Quinzel is a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum treating the Joker. She's seduced by him and becomes his partner in crime. And I mean, the Bonnie and Clyde dynamic is also nothing new, and I can see why a supervillain couple might resonate with certain audiences. But what the girl who sees herself as Harley posting about finding her Joker doesn't realize is that it's historically an abusive relationship. Consistently, the Joker physically, emotionally, and verbally abuses Harley. It's clear on multiple occasions that he doesn't truly love her or see her as anything more than a tool or pawn. He manipulates and abandons her on so many occasions. Those actions are hallmarks of their relationship. Newer stories featuring the characters, including within the DCEU, empower Harley by having her move on from her toxic relationship with the Clown Prince of Crime. And hell, if you like the idea of Harley Quinn in a steamy supervillain love story, I'd implore you to check out the depictions of Harley and Poison Ivy as a couple in various media, as that's actually mostly written as a healthy, balanced romantic pairing. Where are my lesbian or queer Harleys looking for their Ivy on social media? I want to see that. And there you have it. 3 of the most toxic couples in fiction. I hope our Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and DC Geek listeners agree with my analysis. And even if you don't, comment and let us know why. Or do you have a fictional toxic couple that makes you cringe? Put it down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out our Instagram as well at TheDatingDoc. I'll see you next time.
Hey, folks, I really hope you enjoy that content. So here's the thing, the Dating Doc, not only do we have original content, we also have these fun social mixers for singles in San Antonio. So if you're ever interested in getting away from swipe culture and meeting some of San Antonio's best, come on out to our events. All you have to do is look down at the link below, and I'll see you there.